Hello guys to our weekly analysis video, and today we'll be looking at Cliff and the positions used by teams on this map. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but you'll figure it out during this video. Before we get into it, I think we should take a refresher and take a look at the map video from Cliff.
Cliff, the most dynamic map in the league. Battles on Cliff always turn into desperate double-edged fights. Teams start from the same spots as they do in standard battles. The first base is located near the defender's spawn point, and the second is at the bottom of the hill. Sometimes teams split their forces and send several tanks through the 1-2 line to the left of the small hill, but usually both teams play at the center. The attacking team can send one of the tanks up to the lighthouse or behind it. Fast and quick-firing vehicles are better suited for this map, mainly medium tanks, including tanks equipped with autoloaders.
We can see here one of the clashes in the middle between Oops and Kazna. Because of bad shooting from the boys from Oops, two bashas from Kazna managed to cross over and survive. All the tanks from Oops stopped to shoot, but because they didn't kill anybody, they got surrounded from all angles and was no issue from Kazna to close it out. Now, let's take a look at the map first. In the old meta, both teams would drive towards the center and clash, but maybe some guys coming through the 4 line, with some guys playing on the top ramp to shoot down onto them. Now, in the next meta, teams would go super aggressive to the 3 line because of the new physics that were introduced, and one spotter down, then guys coming from the 4 line, and maybe 1 or 2 guys playing on the 6 line ramp to completely overmatch 1-2 line and the crossing towards it. Now, in the current meta, teams usually still have a spotter down. They can have somebody on B2 or A1, but that's more uncommon. We still see a lot of 3-line climbs to take 1-2 line, especially while playing against artillery. You can have one guy coming through the 4 line or the bushes next to it on the 3 line. He can also drive up on that little mountain there. Then usually there's still a guy up playing on the E5 ramp while sending a bat shot on the climb through D7 and getting a sniper on A5 to control the complete hill area. As attackers, we see a lot of teams now putting tanks in the H2 position to try and shoot the tanks driving up the normal way on E6 on towards the hill, while covering him from J1. You can climb over there. Then some teams put a guy in the bushes on G4 to spot the middle and the climbs. Last but not least, teams usually have a sniper from J5 or K5 who can control both the middle and 1-2 line from great elevated position. The guy from H8 can control anybody trying to peek on the hill or trying to flank on the 9 line, while the rest of the team can sit in the town or try to do the climb to control the hill. Last but not least, again, RT from K1 can also shoot onto the hill, but has issues shooting 1-2 line, but you'll see that later on in this video. Here we can see this H2 position we talked about. The boys from Oops are trying to set up and shoot the climb. You can see how they are waiting for the spot to come out on anybody trying to make a peek. At this point, we can see the bat shot from Ding trying to drive up and gets absolutely wrecked by the fire from Oops from the downside. They did not expect this trap whatsoever. Now, talking about a different position here, Daki is doing the 4-line climb. We talked about it, and he will try to take the elevated position where he thinks he's fine, and he can shoot down on anybody in the lower area. We can see here that the tanks from Ding are all on the eastern side of the map, except for one, and they actually expect this play. Daki thinks he could get some nice shots from there, but just look at the fire that comes out from the tanks from Ding. One tank down already for Oops. Again, in a different scenario, we see the 3-line climb we talked about. And they're actually lining up for a boost, which was very interesting, because it was the first time in this season we saw it. While Spoink is doing the climb, which makes him a lot safer than Daki was, Mailand in his TVP is going towards the A5 position. Between themselves, they will have a great crossfire on towards the middle and anything that tries to peek on the hill. At this point, we can see the downside of this position. As soon as he gets spotted, he takes massive amount of damage. Lucky enough, he managed to repair his track and get safe behind the rock. Because of him surviving behind the rock, he managed to deal a nice amount of damage. Even though he doesn't have the highest elevated position, he can still make it work. Here we can see the bat shot from Kazna doing the climb on the back of the mountain we talked about earlier. The issue here is that he has no cover from his teammates, and the bat shot from Isuba is going for a quick flank around the 9-0 line. Because of this quick flank, which Kazna didn't expect, Isuba's bat shot is clipping him for free. So the climb is not without risk, and if you want to do it, you need to make sure he is properly covered by teammates, or this exact scenario will happen. Now again, in a different game, Isuba will be doing the climb from the back. Because Froli is so quick, WoT decides to give him a cheeky shot in the back. Keep in mind that their opponent's oops is playing with an artillery piece. You can see he practiced this well, as he will have no problems with the climb. So now Froli made it to the top of the hill, and he thinks he is safe. But we can see RT aiming on his position, like we talked about on the map. And he will soon find out that he is not as safe as he thought, as RT completely decimates him and his position. I hope this gave you some insight in the positions used on Cliff and how some of them might seem safe, but they are not whatsoever, so you always have to be careful. I hope this video gave you some insight into the positions used and how to counter it, and like always, see you on the battlefield.